Yes. Yeah.
You're fucking cold open.
Okay.
Oh yes.
Indubitably. Normally I just sit here for the first 5 minutes until you say it's some weird name, and I'm like, oh, hey guys, how we doing?
Yes, good sir.
So all right. So I've been having this little debate going on with some of my coworkers the past few days that I thought would be a good thing to try to tackle for a couple minutes.
Okay.
So you got the big zombies thing going now, especially now during it's 'tis the season. So
random money. I think you gave that to me last week.
I think that's what I gave you last time
for all that cocaine. Oh shit, there's more. Sorry to interrupt you there, Spencer.
That's alright.
See fucking $40 sitting on the table. That's just haphazardly go on.
So, anyways, the debate is zombies versus horses.
Right.
Anybody who's familiar with like The Walking Dead or anything now recently, it seems like horses are just popping out, all over the place. And it's been like 10, 15 years within the story.
Correct.
So my thing is at that time, because it took them a while, like the first like 10 years, they were just fucking wandering around, so.
Yeah.
So my thing is, that long into the zombie apocalypse, do horses just become extinct? Or you think at least very rare. Like, how often are you coming by a horse?
There's a handful of things we have to discuss here.
All right.
One, can animals become zombies? Can they get infected, or is it just a human-only disease? We're going to assume it's human-only.
I think, for the most part, the standard is human-only.
Okay, so...
But even, like, humans, they get eaten to a point to where they can't just become zombies. Like, you have to have something left.
Well, the second part... Who's to say that the zombies would want to eat horses? Maybe they only crave human meat.
I mean,
which would explain why there's no rats and birds, because that would be easier game for them than fucking humans.
I mean, again, it depends on the rules of said universe. But, like I said, because the whole debate strung out of The Walking Dead. So in that show... You've seen horses get sacrificed multiple times. Like in the first episode, Rick has to get rid of the horses so he can get away from a herd of zombies. That was what the rules that I was going by.
Okay.
That you just, anything alive, doesn't matter what it is. It could be animals, because they even show like people like breaking like chicken legs and throwing them into a pit of zombies to like feed them and stuff.
The horses... speed, because think if you just had to go catch a wild horse, because there are wild horses across America, and if you went to one, they just kick your head right the fuck off, but two, trying to catch just a random wild horse is not an easy task.
Oh no,
it's probably not even easy to catch like a cow. So I would imagine a slow moving zombie, they probably just couldn't get them.
Well, like one, but I mean, how like
a horde.
Yeah, there's always when do you ever just have one zombie? How often does that happen?
When the plot calls for it.
Yeah, when the plot calls for it.
When you're taking a deuce in a shady bathroom somewhere at a gas station.
Which on a little side note, and then I'm always in the camp, is like, if you see a zombie, you kill a zombie. Like, if it doesn't risk your life, you take out that zombie, because that's one less zombie. Well, there's so many, Here's a little twist for you that might tie into the story we're about to talk about, actually. What if the zombies could be either cured or they're changing into something else, and it's just the next step of evolution, and assuming they're not just disgusting rotted zombies, but they're just a different form of living thing, like an I Am Legend type of zombie. Yeah.
Then if you kill them, then actually you're murdering something.
Well, cure, obviously, if you can find a cure, well then, as they begin to evolve, do they still want to eat you? Because if they still want to eat you, it's fair game, I find. But if they're starting to evolve and they're like, hey, no,
There's a lot of debate. And also, I feel like with your zombie scenario about the 15 years or so, it's not going to be the rotted, dead, reanimated corpse zombies. That doesn't make sense. They're not going to last that long.
Yeah.
It would have to be like 28 days later, mad cow disease type zombies where it's human still. Yeah. Their fucking brains went nutty. And
I'm just thinking of like... you don't have anybody to take care of these horses. I mean, granted, they can eat on grain from, the grass or whatever, but, like, they're going to run out of stuff. It seems like horses always need dudes' help with having, kids. Like, it takes, like, 5 of them to help.
Well, here's your problem, though. You're confusing horses with wild horses. Tamed horses are a different animal.
Well, how many wild horses are there?
A lot. When I went to, I think it was the Outer Banks, they have like a whole beach area where it's just wild horses. And hey, don't.
It's, instead of deer, they just have horses?
Yeah, so it's like, hey, don't pet the wild horses. You go to like Mongolia, I think there's just fucking horses around.
Yeah, that makes sense over there.
It depends where you are. It's the same as like dogs. Yeah, you could just have stray dogs that are still technically domesticated dogs, but then you got coyotes and wolves.
Well, see, dogs, I would say, I would have, like, I think dogs would survive because they're, they can... they're not these big lumbering things, and because even just on the newest episode of the Fear the Walking Dead, a horse just got ganked, and it only took like 3 or 4 of them.
I think that if you just kind of go by the hunter aspect, the predator aspect of zombies, they're gonna go for what they can get, which would mean probably dairy cows first. So those would be wiped out. Yeah.
I didn't even think about cows.
Yeah, dairy cows
are fucked.
Yeah, which would be hilarious though if they mistakenly go for the bulls, because you're gonna have some destroyed zombies. But the dairy cows, they can definitely go after them. So I'd imagine they wouldn't last a year. Like I feel like they would go after the dairy cow if they're just going to eat things. Yeah. They'd go after the dairy cow before they would go after humans, because that would be what's easiest. Of course, humans are the population.
There's so many.
Yeah. I feel like squirrels and rats would be too hard for them to get.
Yeah, those things would probably flourish. There'd probably be a whole bunch of those.
So you could throw birds into there too. Deer might be another possibility. Then again, deer are fucking quick.
Yeah.
Like if you just try to run up and grab a deer, that's not happening. So I think dairy cows and maybe some like slow farm animals, pigs, things like that. Those would be the first to go. After that, then maybe your wild horses come into play. But there's also domesticated horses on farms too, and you can catch those.
Yeah, because then you think a lot of them would still be in there.
Yeah, their pens.
Or wherever,
Brings up an interesting topic, but it's a diversion of what we need to talk about. We got a book review, man.
Yeah. Well, and still, I'd like to, if anybody has any opinions about zombie horses.
If any of you guys have opinions...
About anything, really, I guess.
Well, yeah, but if you folks have opinions on some zombie horses or just what your thoughts on cool zombie universe ideas, hit us up and, hey, maybe you could even jump on a podcast. We could just have a zombie episode. It's October, baby.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. I like that, man.
Let's
get it on. No.
You can do it. No.
It's hard to say things that aren't perverted. Hey there, party people. I always call them party people. I need to come up with a new term. Let's set a new precedent for intros right now. Hey there.
Well, we could call them like ghouls and gals now.
I think I did that last episode.
Did
maybe.
You? Well,
yeah.
You could just be
like ghouls and fiends and things. Hey there, listeners. There we go. That's boring. Hey there, listeners. This is the Drunken Pen Writing Podcast. I'm your host, Caleb James. With me today, Spencer, the Finnish Fiend Church. You fiend. I've been reading the original Frankenstein. The word fiend is used like every other paragraph.
Yeah.
That's the Frankenstein's monsters referred to as a demon with the A and fiend. I like the word fiend. It's not used enough.
No.
Think when you really think of a bad guy, if you call somebody a fiend, you really done fucked up.
Yeah.
Like you did something bad if you're a fiend.
Or just like the only other time it really gets used is if you're like a cracked fiend, or like, sometimes it gets used in addiction terms,
There's a lot of terms for bad people, but fiend is the one you don't want to be, I feel. Scallywag, I could be a scallywag.
Yeah, that sounds kind of fun, actually.
Crook, criminal, creep.
Crook?
Diddler's one I wouldn't want to be.
No.
I'd rather be a fiend than a diddler any day.
Yeah.
Because even if you're not diddling something that's illegal to diddle, I feel like the word diddle, like if you're a violin diddler, I mean, you're technically diddling them strings, but that just doesn't sound right. Today, we are covering, it's going to be fun. Today, we are covering Tower of the Dead by Ray Wenck. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name, Wenck.
Yeah.
I would assume. We talked to this gentleman briefly when he was selling his many, many books at, where the hell was that? Pittsburgh, maybe?
Yeah, it was, Pittsburgh was it?
Yeah, and we realized
we've seen him at other shows before, too.
Yeah, I talked to him in the past here and there, but we decided we needed a book of the month for October, and we wanted a horror theme, but we kind of wanted to go fun. Because we usually go with our book of the month, something either more serious, like a Halloween one, we would think, man, Dracula, or I wanted just something that we could go breeze through, be fun. So we went this Tower of the Dead because the cover is just, which I think is Ren McKenzie.
Yeah.
Did the just some zombies eating somebody.
Yeah, I've got some artwork from him before at different shows.
Yes, but this lovely novel, it's you know what? I'll give you the synopsis real quick, and that'll be a good way for you folks to judge if it would be up your alley. 5 years after the still unexplained event that altered the world, killing millions, the residents of what is now known as Tower Island go about their lives with an uneasy but confident feeling of safety. The zombies, or crits as they have become known, are no longer a danger to the community, thanks to the efforts of Captain Evan Stewart and his troops. But something strange about the crits' behavior leaves him on edge. Though they are massing near the gate, they make no effort to gain access. Attending a party in the Elite Tower, a 26-story apartment complex, Evan notices muzzle flashes near the perimeter gate on the causeway leading to the island. Fearing an attack, he attempts to reach his troops, but finds the breach has already engulfed the tower. Unarmed, with thousands of now somehow organized crits between him and escape, Evan must find a way to lead the tower residents to safety. As the muzzle flashes of his troops diminish, he realizes the battle is lost, no help will be coming. With the tower overrun, Evan decides there is only one way down. They must descend the tower from the outside. That's the whole book. More or less.
The end.
The end. Now, I normally don't read type books like this. Kind of campy, fun stories. I don't think I've ever read zombie fiction.
No, I don't think
and,
so. Well, other than, like, The Walking Dead. That's it.
Yeah, but that's, like, it's a comic, not a novel.
Oh, that's not fiction?
Fuck you! I've never read zombie fiction in novel prose format.
Yeah, alright, then.
Suck my ass tube, guy. So what'd you think of this book, Spencer? Before we go into what I believe is a fun read for the children. I
liked it. It's definitely pretty quick paced. There's not, like, much dead air in it.
It's a very fast pace, I feel. Non-stop action, you could say. Like, you use that as kind of a cliche term. But this was pretty much non-stop action.
For 200 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, like, I read it probably within, like, a week and a half. And that's, like, after I would, like, get my week's books, I would read those first and then go back to this. So, like, I could have probably had it actually read in, like, a week's time probably. And that's pretty quick for me. Like, normally it takes me a little bit longer. But, I think it kind of set up a pretty cool world. Because if I think I remember correctly, I think that's because the author, he does a lot of series. And I think this is the first in, like, a zombie series.
I believe the next one is Island of the Dead. I might be incorrect on the title, but I'm pretty sure that's what he told me. And that's how the end of this book alludes to
that. Would make sense, with the way that it ended. But, and like anything, there's going to be some, like, negative things in there. But as a whole, I enjoyed it. And if he has the second one out, I'd maybe consider, picking it up whenever we...
When we go to Columbus, I believe he's there. I saw him on the list. So I'm going to pick up the second one because I want to see how the story ends. I thought...
Or maybe pick up another one of his series and see, you know what I mean?
We can pick up a couple. Yeah, he's definitely a good writer. I really enjoyed his prose. There wasn't... Like, we've had some problems in the past reading indie authors where they repeat certain phrases or cliches multiple times, with the clenching and unclenching, like things we've talked about from other authors. Doesn't seem to do any of that. There's a few things that are negative that I will discuss in a moment, but I want to say, it was fast-paced, but it was enjoyable throughout. It's like watching a cool action movie.
You know what it reminds me of when I was reading this? It reminded me of, like, John Wick with zombies.
Yeah! Just a lot of shooting and stabbing in the face and action, and it was great. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed just being able to, have a book you could kind of breeze through it. Most chapters ended on, like, a minor cliffhanger that wanted you to keep reading. And it's a real page turner.
And I said, it's only like 200 pages, and what the longest chapter might have been like 5 or 6 pages.
Yeah,
at the most. So like you kept on felt like you were making progress because you read a couple pages and you're like, ooh, new chapter. Mm-hmm. And like I don't know about you, but that always kind of it gets me kind of tricks me into reading it a little bit more.
And he did it just enough with the changing of perspective to kind of keep you on your toes. Because there's a couple other, like, you had the main guy, Evan Stewart, in the tower. And then you had some, maybe love interest, maybe not. I don't want to give anything away. But somebody who was underneath him in I forget what he called them, but like the force.
I want to say strike force, but that's not what it is.
It's essentially like an army kind of thing.
It's the people that protect the tower, like, and the community and all that stuff.
Yeah, and she was under him, so they couldn't have like any kind of romantic. I think her name was like Tequila Jones or something.
Yeah,
like,
that was,
called her Tiki.
Yeah,
and it would switch to her perspective of where because they got attacked by the zombies first.
Yeah, because
they were guarding post like the fence where to keep the zombies out.
Say he was like the captain or whatever. And
yeah,
he got promoted into this beginning of the elite that live in because not everybody lives in the building in the high rise,
which was a nice way to kind of show like the difference between rich and poor, like. In any country, really, like the inequality of the rich and poor, and it was like the rich elites, is like you said, they live in this big fancy tower, and they're living the good life. They're having parties, eating food that Evan's group, has to go out and scrounge around for, because it's very rare to get food, especially booze.
Oh, booze!
But these people, they just eat it and throw it around like it's nothing. They don't give a shit because they don't have to work for anything. But he ends up in this tower with them because.
They have some kind of ball or like some kind of get together, and that's when the invasion happens.
But like the perspectives on here, it'll go from somebody else's point of view, so you can get a little bit of another side story that goes with the same story. So while Evan's wondering what the hell's happening outside, he'll actually show you through Tiki's character and what's going on. So that was nice. That gave it a nice, it didn't, because sometimes if you have like it was just Evan's story the whole time. It might get a little, like, especially with the way the action is, you'd be like, okay, I'm getting a little burnt out now. But since they switch it up, you don't really get that. Yeah, but the action was very well done. A few of the negatives on this, because it was so fast-paced, I feel the character development wasn't really... Again, with this kind of story, I don't read this stuff so often, so I don't know if that's really an important part of these kind of... But it's like you said, this is a series.
So maybe next year.
Yeah. But even so, going into the second one, I kind of want more character. Because Evan's just kind of like your John Wick type or something. He's just good guy. He got the guns, but he has like a sense of morality and stuff. But you don't really get too much of his personality. Tiki a little more, but not a lot. And then a lot of the little side characters, they're just. I don't want to say one-dimensional, but they're just kind of there.
Plot devices.
Yeah, it's like, this guy's got the gun now. Now, the bad guys, they had character. They're fucking assholes. So you definitely got that. And then that little girl.
Yeah, I was going to say, probably the most like drawn-out character was the little girl at the end.
Yeah, she was real feisty and kicking and stabbing. But that brings me to the second point. This was the real negative for me on this book, is the injuries people would assist... no, I wouldn't say sustain, but the injuries that a lot of the characters get within like the next chapter seemed like it wasn't a big deal. Like at one point, Tiki blows out her knee, but then like when Evan finds her, they're just running again.
Yeah.
So what happened to her blown out knee? Evan.
Maybe he's just doing bad ways of like she didn't actually blow it out, but like you land funny, it gives out.
Well, here's a more extreme example of that though. Evan, at one point, he's dangling off a balcony or something. Yeah. He gets his hand crushed by a windowsill. Yeah, and it's so bad he can't even hold on to the bars. He has to use his other hand, and he's fucked up. And I don't think he could hold a gun with it. But then within the next chapter, he's fine. He also cuts, I think, the same hand. Like I think he gets his hand cut, and there's blood everywhere. And then later, that's not really addressed too much. Like he's just going about his business. He fucking is always exhausted, and when you read, you'll know why. Yeah, there's so much going on. Like, he's doing so much, killing so many zombies, so obviously he's exhausted. But he could never, he might sleep for, a few minutes or something, but he never, for a couple days, it seems like, just doesn't sleep.
Yeah, but it takes him, almost a week to get down the tower.
Something, yeah. It's
like 3 or 4 days.
So, and he just doesn't seem to really be sleeping. Maybe that was just like kind of glossed over, but he specifically wrote scenes where he's trying to sleep and something else comes up. And so it's like, but I do think that led to, especially when there's a scene with Evan and the little girl he ends up saving. He's beating her head off the ground. He doesn't even realize it. That's a good way of showing that, oh, he's got PTSD setting in now because he didn't even realize what he was doing. He's just having this angry outburst. So that I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the second one with that. Maybe I'm hoping that he goes into that a little more.
Whoa. I mean, how much do we want to...
Well, that's it. I'm not going to give away the ending or anything. So I think that... see, who else got injured? That was ridiculous. A couple people got shot and stuff, and it's like, it's a factor, but then is it?
My main thing would have been, is, like, my main gripe about the book is some of, like, the planning, like, the characters' plans, and, like, because I kind of felt like also sometimes things was, like, explained a little too much sometimes.
Like, little details with the plans, like...
And I mean, that might just be something clashing with my own personal, like, writing style, like, but, like, even with, like, all the balcony and, like, all that stuff, it kind of seemed like him jumping from a balcony to a balcony, like, that was, like, a chapter.
Yeah. I didn't mind the planning stuff too much because, I mean, if you're in that situation, you would be planning.
Do you think the buses would have worked?
I think those were the buses they had locked up, right? I didn't really understand. There was a few parts where I was a little blurred, like the lines were a little blurred on exactly how they got what they got. Like the buses, because they were in some kind of warehouse or something, but then they ended up getting wrecked, and like I don't know.
A couple of them got wrecked. Yeah. I think there was like 6 or something.
They got more fucking buses. Yeah. I'm not sure. Also, how far away was the water? Was 3 bus lengths away, or the fence or something? Yeah. It was.
I just think like it'd probably be kind of hard to run on the roof of a bus.
Yeah.
And then you got to go down and then back up.
Well, and why couldn't zombies get up on the bus?
Yeah.
People could.
And then there was also like a 10-foot gap between the bus and the end of the fence, like the other side of the fence.
Yeah, there was, which also brought another point.
Because they never, somehow they walked the fat lady over.
They got a board or something, I think they put across the fence. But yeah, there was this fucking irritating fat lady that they... and you're going to have that, especially with rich people, like people that are pretty much fucking useless. But they had to lower her down in a chair, and it was like this big ordeal and really held them up. And then I guess, like you said, how'd they get him over the fence, though? Like, even with a board or something, walking her fat ass over. I don't know. There's a few things might have been glossed over, but it wasn't really important. No, like I said, I never read, Ray's other work. But just from this alone, I think he's a pretty solid storyteller. He definitely knows how to write action. So, because he said this was his first ever. Yeah. I think it was in the intro. This and when we were talking to him, he said his son or somebody just says, because he was talking about zombies being popular. People always why don't you just write a zombie story? He's like, okay.
Yeah, because a whole bunch of fans kept on asking if he has any zombie stories.
So for a first time writing a zombie story, I think he did really well.
How close do you think the bullet count is? Like the amount of bullets he had into what he actually shot? Like, do you think,
I was a little curious about the whole thing with the ammo because he ended up having to run back to his room at some point, and that was a big ordeal.
And used all of it to get out. Like, to escape, to get the bullets and to escape, he used all those bullets.
And with his training and stuff, why didn't he get all the ammo to begin with? I mean, I know he had to, work his way back up the tower, but I figure a guy like that would have a fucking backpack of some sort.
Yeah, because I remember saying he only had so much room or something before in his pockets or something.
Nobody has a bag. You're like an army guy. You don't have some kind of bag or... There's a few things like the plot devices like that, which were kind of like, you get it. Or, you lose a gun. It's a kind of standard tropes with that. But at the same time, get a fucking backpack, man. Just shove all the armor in there. Because there are some things, too, is like, how's it, when he's carrying a bunch of stuff, and how are you shooting zombies, and you have a knife, and you're swinging from balconies. Some of the imagery there is like, what the fuck is happening? Yeah. Also, when he was describing, the balconies, at least for me, some of it was like, wait, I can't really picture how these are set up.
Yeah, are they side by side? Is one higher than the other?
Yeah, because I feel like he kind of really went into the description of these balconies, and I still didn't really get it. So maybe...
Well, just really the whole setup of the tower itself.
Yeah, like I said, how close was it to the marina or the water?
And then because there was only elevators that went so far, and then you have to get on another floor to use the other elevators.
No, I've been in a lot of buildings that are like that. Oh, so yeah, I understand that. But that was kind of a cool thing. But then, he would ride up on the top of the elevator. He'd climb up the top, so that way when it
get smushed eventually. I don't know how much.
No, there's a lot of room in an elevator shaft. But so he would look down into the car, I guess is what they call it, elevator car. Car to see, if there's any zombies when it stops at a floor, which is cool. But I feel like he could just ride all the way up and down. Up like every time I was in the elevator, I'd ride up there because there was a couple scenes where he was just waiting for it to open. It's like, there's gonna be some zombies. I would just be like, fuck, I'm staying up here.
And you think you would have been better at taking out the zombies without guns? You would think.
Well, he killed like fucking 800 zombies with a knife, so it just depends how many zombies there are.
Again, just with like the explaining thing, like that, like the one scene when he was getting back for the bullets, and like he was like stuck in between like a cupboard and the wall somehow, and zombies were. I feel like that sometimes whenever he was doing so much explaining that it kind of got too much, and I was like, what's going on right now?
Yeah, there was a little bit of that. Again, this is kind of just like nitpicky stuff.
Yeah. Oh no, I definitely enjoyed reading the book. I got it done before you did, and then how often does that happen?
Almost never. I had a tough time rating this book because, like I said, I don't read this kind of stuff. So to rate this, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, so I really enjoyed it. But to rate this book a 4-star for me is kind of rough because, there's, I think I might have read like Old Man in the Sea, I rated maybe 4 or 5 stars, or like Great Expectations, a 4-star. So, I mean, I can't say this book would compare to any of those, but at the same time, like, I really enjoyed it. So
it's kind of like it's like a guilty pleasure. Yeah. Like, granted, it might not be as quote-unquote good as those other books, but it's probably more entertaining.
Yeah, and your enjoyment factor of it.
It's kind of like the, whenever the news that just broke, like, Cloaks 3 is going to be made. And I can probably bet you whenever that movie comes out, that's probably going to be like one of my favorite movies of all time. Now, is it better than
The Godfather? Probably not.
The Godfather? Or even, would it even be better than like any of the new Spider-Man movies that I freaking love right now? Like, sometimes it's just, it's good enough that you like it and that's all you need.
Well, I think that's kind of the whole point of this book, is that it's just a fun book.
And that's the kind of stuff that I enjoy, because I feel like with my own personal writing, that's the kind of thing more that I shoot for. Like,
well, that goes with any kind of writer. Do you want to write a book that's going to appeal more to the masses and be either a fun or an entertaining or something exciting, or would you go the literary route and go for the acclaim or trying to, tell some grand moral story, something about the Vietnam War, try to have some talking points, or it just depends what kind of writer you are.
Well, and that's the great thing about being a writer too, is that you can do both.
Yeah, if you're good enough, you can do both. Like a Neil Gaiman, he could tell a really fun story, but also incorporate, some literary fiction in it.
Either in the same story, be like, hey, this is my horror book that I like to write for fun, that was like, that I finished in a month or whatever.
Yeah.
And then this is my other more serious book that took me like a half a year or a year to like pour the heart and soul and get it done and finished and where it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, like musicians, rappers and stuff like that. They're not just all one thing. That would be boring. For both you and the person that's entertaining your art.
Very true. So what was your rating of this?
I'd give it about... I don't know if I want to go 3 or 4 on it. I'd probably go 4 because I like more of it than what I didn't.
Yeah.
Like
I said, I'm all down to pick up the second one when we go see him again, so definitely excited for that. Felt like it was a good choice. I might want to see... Because I think he has some supernatural thrillers or something like that. I'll see what his other books... Because like I said, I'm not a zombie book guy. I'm not really even into zombies too much anyway. So the fact that I enjoyed this as much as I did is saying something about the writing.
Quick topic. How did you feel about the zombies? Like, they're like... How he portrayed what did they call them?
The crits.
The crits. Like,
Short for critters.
how do you think he did it, like, on that front of, like, describing them, how they looked, how they moved, that kind of stuff?
I thought he did a good job with that. I just got the feel that they're at least so far, your typical, just normal horror zombies that just slow moving, eat people, but they are what sets this book a little bit apart from other zombie stories, and it seems like they're kind of evolving, maybe, or they're learning, like they're able to think. So that, like, that's obviously the plot point going into the second one. Because it starts off with all of a sudden 4 years on this island, and now they're finally just getting together, like the zombies, and it's almost like they're planning something. It's like, how the fuck are they doing that? So that was kind of interesting. I would like to see if there's some kind of grand scheme for this, or because they didn't even say what started the zombie apocalypse, or because they're just on the island. Yeah, is it all over the world? I mean,
and you're not even really sure where that island's at, really.
Yeah, all that stuff is very vague. So,
and like literally, like you get the first like chapter of people like hunting for stuff, and then like after that, it goes like the zombies show up or the Kriegs show up, and the shit hits the fan.
One thing I don't like about it though is that I don't know where the fucking zombies came from, because if it's an island, wouldn't they just be able to kill all the zombies and there's no more zombies? Are they swimming there?
Yeah.
Like, where are the more zombies coming from? Because there's a lot of zombies.
You'd think after a while that it would,
They would just, like, if they have enough armed forces, they'd just shoot all the zombies. That'd be the end of it, because they're on an island. Nobody's importing zombies. Also, I'd like to say this book starts off awesome, because there's, like, these guys hunting for booze. Then they get killed.
Yeah.
They're pirate type of dudes.
It goes, they did the little trick of, like, the first paragraph deals with these characters that do not make it out of that first paragraph.
Yeah, that first chapter.
And then they're gone. They're red shirts.
It's just a good way to introduce you to a good old fun zombie story. So that's our review of Tower of the Dead by Mr. Ray Wenck. I recommend it.
Yep.
Even if you're like myself, who is a literary junkie and goes for the fine, highfalutin literature, I think you'd really enjoy this just because it's fun. Because sometimes you need a fun read.
Yeah.
It was a good break too, because I'm reading Frankenstein, the original, at the same time, and it's taken me a while because it's fucking dense and Mary Shelley old style writing. So this was a nice reprieve from going too deep into all that old literary shit.
Yeah. And if you don't worry about it if you don't go to conventions and to see him, he has plenty of...
It's got like 30 books, it seems like.
And he has plenty of, he has a very strong, like, online presence, it looks like, so you can just go to his website and, and order it and get it sent to you.
Yeah, now that I actually read his book, because I've seen him for years, and we talked to him, like, just at passing, like, hey, what's up, man? I normally don't buy books at those kind of things just because... got enough to read, but check out more of his stuff now. And something to talk to him about.
And a lot of times, the books that I be selling are like old lady fantasy romance novels.
Half of it is like old lady romance fantasy novels, and the other half is like bad sci-fi.
Yeah,
I don't like. You can tell a lot of times by like the covers and stuff. So or I'll read an excerpt. I'm like, yeah, this is like fucking 2,000 pages, and it's no, I'm not gonna. And also the sales pitch. A lot of the people that sell novels have terrible sales pitches. But you think that you'd have to be a better salesman, because novels don't sell at those kind of things too much.
Yeah.
Which is what I think Ray probably does fairly well, is because his books are seemingly fairly short.
Yeah.
They're fast paced. Because also, even though this was only 200 pages, like the print inside, it's normal print, but it's not whole page. It's like there's a good half an inch on each side of the paragraphs.
And the pages themselves aren't that big.
Yeah, so it's
a smaller book, which is, and for the kind of stuff that he writes, I think that fits well with it being a normal. Because like I like that, but could you imagine reading that for like another 200 pages?
That just the action packed zombiness.
Yeah,
it'd be rough. I mean, I guess if you read the first one and the second one back to back, you might get burnt. Like this too, I could get burnt out on all the action. So,
but if you read that and then you read the sequel, like 5 books later.
Yeah.
And even if it's similar, it's not gonna feel that bad. But if it's all put together in one huge book, it might take a minute to get through that.
You know what this reminded me of? Like the fun books like Goosebumps and things like that. I read it as a kid. Those short, fast reads that are just entertaining. like, I felt he did a good job with, like, grammar and, you know, using the spicier word here and there, but it wasn't obviously too heavy-handed. But it wasn't also what I was worried about with a zombie book like this, of just being kind of dumb. Like, the writing-wise, just being short, punchy paragraphs and sentences, and just, you know, basic vocabulary. Like, he ran, he shot. Like, he threw in some, like I said, a little spicier language here and there. A couple $2 words. Like, he didn't go over the top, but it was enough to keep somebody like myself interested, because I can't do the fucking bottom of the barrel kindergarten writing. Like, throw in a word that's more than a couple syllables, you know? Throw in a word that has at least 5 letters in it. All right. Well, if you folks want to check this book out, I probably should have, I think I got his card in here. Oh, look at that.
I'm sure that sounds great.
The PVD cast. That's not him at all. Do you have his card in there?
I don't have it on me, no.
Oh, fuck. Here, you tell everybody what you're excited about for Christmas. And
Christmas?
Yeah.
Not Halloween, Christmas?
No, Christmas.
Christmas?
How about what you're thankful for?
I'm thankful that we have all these great listeners that listen to our podcast on a regular basis. You guys are awesome. You guys need to tell a friend if they're into listening to two idiots ramble on about some shit. Tell them, you know.
All right, that's enough of that.
We're good at that.
That's enough of that, Spencer.
That's probably going to get cut.
Probably will. Oh, well, that's fucking... I guess I didn't need the card for that. You can check out Ray Wenck at raywenck.com. That's RAYWENCK.com. He has, like I said, a lot of books, and worth checking out. If you want to see what we are up to, you can go to drunkenpenwriting.com. You can hit us up on Twitter at drunkpenwriting. Go to Facebook, drunkenpenwriting something. I guess there's no dot. Just drunkenpenwriting.com. I just like saying the .com. Makes me feel like one of those old... I almost want to be like the real old heads of the HTTP / www World Wide Web. Is it still the World Wide Web? Is there anything else? I don't know. I don't want to talk about that.
I don't even put the W's in front of anything, so...
No, half the time I just like Google take it. Just write the word, not even any, like, no address. We are still doing our giveaway till Halloween, so enter that because we have not had any entries this week. Again, just a simple name for Spencer. Just a stupid name. We do it every episode.
Not that hard.
You can win some shit. Free shipping. You don't have to pay for anything. You can also, hopefully we'll get it out in time. Keep an eye out for our horror anthology. We're working on it. It's almost done. Got the stories in. Also, we are in the midst of our Halloween submission period over at the drunkenpenwriting.com. We got a lot of stories in. If you folks want to submit horror poetry or flash fiction, that's what we need the most at the moment. Like I said, we got a lot of short stories. You can still submit short stories. We just need more, especially the poetry, because that's its own day. And I don't want to write horror poetry. I really don't feel like it. I got enough on my plate. Spencer, he doesn't write poetry at all.
I don't write poetry at all. No, I don't even attempt that.
He doesn't want to write, like, the black cat was scary, and then it was hairy, and then it got married too. I don't know. It's not scary at all. Alright, so you folks have one of them there lovely evenings. We'll catch you on the flip side.
Bye.